In fact, as I said, Swami had initiated a rose chants. What is a rose chants? Every day at the end of the session, when there is arti to be taken in Sai Kulwant Hall in Prashanti Nilayam Puttaparthi, there'll be one person who has served Swami in his organizations. It can be the book trust, it can be the canteen, it can be the hospital, it can be the Gokulam, which is the dairy farm. It can be any of these institutions for more than 10 years. Anybody who has served, by turn, they get a chance to come to Swami and offer a rose. And Swami will accept a rose, put it into their pocket, and then Swami will pose for a photograph with them. Imagine a one on one photograph with Swami. And every evening, one person would get this chance. See, that's why I'm saying it is so important that we serve Swami through his organization. Uh, Today we may not get it like that, where Swami is physically not giving, where Swami is physically giving a rose, but who knows, he can do it even today. But I'm 100% convinced that whenever we offer our time, energy, resources to his organization, he's very happy. So along with this chance for the elderly people, elderly I'm saying those who have spent more than 10 years, it became a chance for us photographers as well. Because as I said, Swami will pose for a photograph, so one of us has to go take a photograph. So there were two of us that time. One was Ranjit, one was myself. And by turns we would go, and it's a great joy, You stand and Swami looks at you. Swami is forced to look at you in that sense, because he has to pose for a photograph, like right, you're saying, say Sai Ram Swami, say Vibhuti, say cheese, and Swami has to look at you and he has to smile. And sometimes, the temptation is there that let me delay a little more, because the more I delay, the longer Swami look at me through the lens, and you can see him. It's an amazing feeling when Swami is looking at you eye into eye. And we'll take a picture, and once that is done, you lower the camera, look to Swami and say, Swami, done. And you say, then Swami will bless that person and he will send him. And he got his chance, but we have actually also got the chance. And these people who have served Swami, they come by rotation. We, every alternate day, we photographers, two of us, right? Every alternate day, we get this chance. So this was what was happening till this dreadful Sunday, the 13th of December, 2009. What happened that day? Well, this presentation that I'm making today is called Masterful Storytelling. And I felt rather than preach and tell how you should tell the story, I thought it was better to pray to Swami and try to present how a story could possibly be told. And let me start by just sharing my screen. And is my screen being seen?
Yes, it is.
Sure.
Okay. So let me give a disclaimer that I have not gone through any books. All the storytelling that I have learned in my life is by Swami's grace and by life itself, life teaching me. So for this presentation also, I'm being absolutely honest. I'm going to share what I have learned. This may not follow the syllabus of any school or college or anything like that. This is just what I've been taught in life. And yeah, let me just get back to what I was saying. So from 10th December to 13th December, there was a dramatic change. As you can see here, what you can see on your left is Swami posing for me on the 10th of December. You know, even before the elderly person has taken his place next to Swami and is ready to pose, Swami is already looking at me with that gentle smile. You can see that, beautiful, right? So I used to click photos even before that actual pose is taken, because Swami is looking at the camera, and later on you can zoom into only Swami's face and have a picture of Swami looking at you directly. Now contrast this with the picture on the right there. The person is ready, he's posing. Swami just refuses to look at my camera. I was really stunned that day. I'm thinking, what's happening? Swami, and Swami is looking away. It's very evident that he does not want to look at the camera. What had happened? I was I was, I was just surprised. I, I thought that something is amiss, but I don't know what it is. So I just took that photo, what you saw, that photo as it is, where the person is looking so much into the camera, but he didn't get a good photograph because Swami is looking away. Swami is not looking at the camera. And in my mind, we have the tendency of being very kind on ourselves and cruel on others. In my mind, I'm thinking this person must have done something to upset Swami. That's why Swami is not happy with him. Something he must have done wrong. This is what I am thinking. And then I go back to the studio. I transfer all the photographs from my camera to the system. And that night, a couple of us colleagues had decided to meet up at one home and have a nice dinner together. Talking, chatting, and a kind of a satsang come fun and both divine fun. But before I could go there, I got a phone call. I got a phone call from one of my senior colleagues at Radio Sai, and what he told me just deflated me completely. It completely deflated me. I felt so low, so sad. What did he tell me? This is what it was. He told me that Arvind, Professor G. Venkatraman, at that time, Professor G. Venkatraman was the director of Radio Sai Global Harmony, the erstwhile Radio Sai Global Harmony, and he's the only director whom Swami has personally appointed. And he told me that Arvind, Professor GB wants to meet you. I said, hey, do I have to meet him today? Why not tomorrow? We're going, man. We're going for a dinner, man. It's going to be, we have had a lovely night planned out. Is it something urgent? Yeah, it is not just urgent, it is very important. Oh, okay. But why are you sounding serious? Because it is a serious matter, Arvind. It is something very serious, and I don't know what to say. And now, what do you mean, Prakash? What happened? Is everything all right? Swami is very upset with you. With me? Like, I was shocked. I said, yeah, I noticed something strange. He was not posing at my camera, but I thought that's because he's upset with me. Why? No, you please go and meet Venkatraman, sir. Swami is very upset with you, and he expressed his displeasure at the dining table because Professor G. Venkatraman had the opportunity of dining with Swami every day, every night. So he has told it, and yeah, GV sir is also very upset. Oh my God, what is it about? No, you go and meet him. No, give me some. I just want to prepare myself. What is it about? Please let me know. No, you meet him, Arvind. I think whenever you're fine, you go and meet him. I wanted to go and meet him immediately. Okay. Let me just pause over here. And one important thing whenever we start telling a story is to know the fact that when people turn up for your story, when people turn up for your story, I mean, open your book to read it, open your blog to read it, open your video to view it, they have expressed that interest that, hey, I want to know what you're going to tell. So, in the beginning, everyone is interested. And as storytellers, our challenge is to make sure that we don't lose that interest. Very, very important. That is how it will be. That is why the beginning is so important. Well begun is half done, they say. However, don't reserve like the best for the last. Yeah, in a way that is true. Reserve the best for the last. But your beginning has to have a dramatic high point. Now I'll tell you for sure because this is also a workshop. It's not just a story that I'm telling you. I'm not going to be revealing to you the climax and what it culminated in till the end. You have to go through this workshop now. So, you see, but you will be ready to wait because you want to know what happened. You want to know. You must have that much info to know that, hey, something has happened. It's out of the ordinary. It is something that interests me. As I said, you have to give some info that arouses curiosity. At the same time, it should not satiate them. Aha, this is what it is. No, 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 no. No. Because you see, I started this story on the 13th of December 2009. This story had its beginnings months before, many months before. But I'm not telling the story linearly because I want my starting to have a dramatic high point. It has to give in some info which gives you an idea of what is the story about. At the same time, it has to arouse curiosity. And now you have an idea how I'm going to be doing this workshop. In the end, we will have question and answers. But I would like to present this workshop itself enmeshed and intertwined with a story so that it becomes easy for me to explain some of the concepts because they have already been possibly presented as it goes on. So, as I said, this story begins more than an year earlier, but I chose to start it from this point. So, this is one thing that we always need to do in storytelling, capture the interest. Everyone has offered their interest in the beginning. Make sure that what we present is worth that interest. Now, Brother Bala shared with me the questions that came along with the registration. Many of you have registered, and these were the questions. I went through all the questions. Well, I'm not being honest if I say that. I went through most of the questions and I grouped them into five categories. Many questions were about how to share about our activities and service in an engaging manner. This is one of the questions that has a theme. This I would like to put it as how to find stories. What do I mean by this? When we report about our service activities or what has happened in our center or what's happening in our region, whatever, that is the word. Report. It's a report. 40 SSIO members came together and served lentil soup and whatever, asparagus or pizzas to 35 people in the poor section of such and such a country in the month of so and so, and oh, all the details are there. Everything is there. What is done is there. Ah, but that's a report. That's a report. That's not a story. So, how to share about our activities and services in an engaging manner, service in an engaging manner, I will say that that question boils down to how to find stories, not reports, how to find stories in the report. That is what I will try to address here with Swami's grace. The second thing is, one second, something, how do I go back? Okay. How to tell stories better for kids. Some people have asked for kids, some people for SSC children, some people say generally I want to speak in an engaging manner. So I've just put it how to tell stories better for kids or for adults or for a non-sci audience. This is about how to tell the stories. We have already explored one aspect about it, which is the beginning. Well begun is half done, definitely. Okay. The next question that has come is how to captivate the audience, how to hold their attention. As I said in the beginning, everybody is ready to give their attention. How to hold their attention? By promising them that if you thought till now that I have got into deep soup with Swami and G. Venkatraman sir, yeah, you don't have a clue. It's going to get worse. It's going to get real bad. Hold attention without boring them with details. So, there are a lot of details, lots and lots of details. But storytelling is about which details do I choose to share. Every detail is not as important, is not as effective in engaging the audience. The next most important thing, how to find insights in exciting stories. I've had a lovely miracle. Vibhuti appeared at my home. But when I share it with people, they don't seem to get excited. Why? I don't know. That is because everybody at the very core is looking at what is there in this for me. For me. Okay. And that is where the message is very, very important. A story without a message is not something that is memorable or people will not remember. How do we derive a message from the story? When I tell a story, for instance, even the story that I have narrated so far, I've already told you, right, how much importance Swami gives to people who offer their time, energy, and resources to the organization. That's a take home message. Oh, wow, that sticks in the mind. That message is what makes the story interesting. Otherwise, Aravind is coming here and telling his personal chances that he got with Swami. Okay, at the end of it, if people go back with the message that, hey, you know what, Arvind is very lucky. He got a chance to interact with Swami. then it's gone. After a couple of stories, nobody will come and listen to my stories because you know what? Arvind keeps sharing, yeah, it just makes me feel little jealous. It just makes me feel envious. No, no, no. People come back to stories because they get, hey, this is something that I can use in my life. That has to be there. Every story must give some utility, even if it is just entertainment for the viewer or listener or reader. Okay, that is the next one. How to derive insights from existing stories, how to get that message. Finally, what is the connection between storytelling, verbally, written, visual media in all this? So, as I say, when you narrate a story, this visual media, written media, all of them can either supplement or complement. Let me just escape this. What do I mean by supplement or complement? Now, there are two ways. When you tell a story with media, I'm saying whether it is photographs or videos, either they will enhance what you're already saying, like what happened in the beginning. I was saying that Swami seemed upset with me. It definitely made more impact on you when you actually saw Swami getting upset and turning his face away from me. It made, oh yeah, okay. So that is supplementing. You can either supplement or you can complement. Some things you need not speak it out verbally or write it. A picture is worth 1,000 words, they say. You can use it as a compliment. You just add on it. It shares something additionally. So these are the general questions, and this is the answer which we will delve into detail, into depth. But those are the general answers. Now let me proceed back with the story bit because that is something very interesting, right? As I said, the story had its beginning several months before. Let me once again share the screen. I just forget to stop sharing because after sharing it for some time, I want to. I hope you can see my screen now. Yeah. So, what had happened was a dangerous bike stunt, as I tell you. So, what is this dangerous bike stunt about? You know, it's not, as you can see on the screen, I'm there with two kids. This is not the dangerous bike stunt. Much before this, what had happened was that I was taking on my new bike. Let me stop sharing. Okay, now you see me. So I had got a new bike in 2009, and there was this little girl from the Sri Sathya Sai Primary School. She seemed to have got attached to me. I seemed to have got attached to her. She was about 10 to 12 years younger than me. And during the vacation, I used to visit her at home. We used to talk, we used to play. She's after all in grade 9 or grade 10. She had some problem with her eye. And I volunteered. I said, I'll take you to the hospital, the super specialty hospital in Prashantinilayam in Puttaparthi. So she sat on the bike, she was behind, and I went to the hospital. And we met the doctor treated her, whatever happened, and then I brought her back to her parents. This is all that had happened. Now, this was in the month of September 2009. Okay. In October 2009, Swami visited the city of Hadshi and Mumbai, the two cities of Hadshi and Mumbai, and I got the chance of accompanying Swami. It's beautiful. It was a lovely visit. In fact, on my channel, I have done a 9-part serial on the whole Hadshi trip. What all happened? What all are there? What are the beautiful messages? I'll now go to the last day when we were returning back to Puttaparthi in the flight. What happened in the flight was everybody requested Swami for photos with him, individual photos, and Swami agreed very lovingly, graciously. So I was the photographer, there was a videographer along by my side. We both sat in the front of the business cabin in the aircraft. One by one, the students were coming and taking photos with Swami. They'll pose with Swami and I'll click the photo. While this was happening, let me share again and take you to, yeah, I hope you can see my screen. Suddenly, the food trays came and they blocked the path. Now, because the path got blocked, food was not coming. I thought this is a nice opportunity to speak to Swami. So I got up on my knees and I said, Swami, I've got something to tell you. And Swami was giving all attention, as you can see on the screen, right? He was looking into my eyes and telling me what, and I began to talk about my parents. I said my father is retiring, Swami, and they wish to come and settle in Puttaparthi. More than them wishing, I wish that they do that. And Swami said, okay, okay, they can come, they can settle in Puttaparthi, that's fine. Then I said, Swami, my father has had so many opportunities with you. By your grace, I have also had enjoyed opportunities. My mother, Swami, my mother, no, she doesn't get so many opportunities. She keeps telling Swami, 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 please, Swami, interact with her, give her some opportunity. Just she would love to get an interaction with you. Then Swami said, yes, yes, that's good. And then Swami asks me, your mother keeps telling Swami, Swami, Swami. That I know. Those days Swami would speak so softly. So I had to make Swami repeat 2, 3 times what he was saying because I was not able to hear. And Swami said, your mother keeps telling Swami, Swami, Swami. What about you? I wondered what. No, I was wanting to see if I can get an interview for my parents. That's all was my agenda. Okay, in this gap when the AIL is blocked and students are not able to come. But Swami asking, what about you? I said, Swami, you know about me. You know about me. Then Swami said, I know about you. Girl on the motorcycle. Oh my God, girl on the motorcycle. And I said, Swami, sister. Swami said, no. He smiled and said, that's not sister. You made her sister. She's not your sister. And I said, "Yeah." I agreed. I said, yes, Swami. Swami said, no, that's not good. I said, Swami, I don't want to do anything that upsets you. I'll never ride the bike itself again. Then Swami said, no, 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 I didn't tell you don't ride the bike. Don't take any girl behind you on the bike. I said, sorry, Swami. Please forgive me. I will never do that. Swami said, nah, it's okay. It's okay. But be very careful. You Ride the bike, use the bike. Swami had no problems with me using the bike. But Swami was very clear that he didn't want me to take any girl on my bike. Okay. So let me stop sharing because what, yeah, I've stopped sharing. So that was what Swami uh, told me. And I said, I thought, okay. And after we got down and went back, I called one senior brother whom I trust a lot and whom I have great regard for. He considers me like a young brother. And I told him that, you know what? This was something amazing. Swami revealed his omniscience. And I told him this whole thing. He said, Arvind, Swami is omniscient and he tells and he reveals all this. That is true. But based on my experience, the way things have gone on, I think this is more than that. I think somebody has complained about you. So be very careful and follow what Swami said. So I agreed. I decided that yes, I will do that. And now, when I went to Professor GV, this is what I am finally happened. I went to Professor GV and he told me about the dangerous bike stunt that I had done. What is this dangerous bike stunt? You see, in December 2009, there was an elder sister of my friend. Now, when Swami said, don't take girls on your motorbike, I assumed them being younger than me or people who can mistake thinking that, there is something else going on. Now, this was a lady who was 12 years elder to me, or 13 years or 14 years elder to me, with 2 children, had a difficulty walking. So I volunteered to drop her to North 4 building in Prashantinilayam. She and her 2 sons, you saw her 2 sons on the bike there. And this had apparently reached Swami. And Swami had told Professor Venkatraman, in spite of me telling your boy doesn't listen to me, he keeps taking girls on his bike. Swami said, I don't like such boys. I don't like such people. We are better off without them here. Now you can understand why I was feeling so dreadful, why I was feeling so horrible. I just started crying without even knowing. Tears are streaming down my eyes. And I don't know what to do now. Tomorrow I may not be here anymore because I have disobeyed Swami blatantly. I hope you're finding this story interesting. It's so important that we find an interesting story to tell. That is the heart of storytelling. Finding the story. How do I find the story? I think you're able to see my screen. You have to and listen and read with the heart. You have to get inspired. Dear brothers and sisters, believe me, music, graphics, illustrations, all of these, they can't make up for lack of inspiration. An example that I remember is Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana, made in the 1980s. Very bad graphics, pathetic graphics. Okay, music is decent and good, but the audio recording quality was not high that time. Technically, they were not so sound. So it's not that great. And yet, even to this day, people shed tears watching because that is the power of the inspiration that he has got. Many modern movies you can see ultimate graphics, superb music, everything fantastic, but people, it goes a flop. Crores and millions of dollars are poured into the movie, but it goes flop because that inspiration is not there. The inspiration, remember, what has not inspired your heart can inspire no other heart. 100%. When you are telling a story, you better tell something that has inspired your heart. Otherwise, it's going to fall flat. It's 100% going to fall flat. That is why it is so important that we have to be constantly reading and listening and reading with the heart. Okay. So what technique I do is I keep my ears open, my eyes open, all my senses open to Swami stories, because as I said, I wish to be known as Swami storyteller. I keep listening with my heart, and so many stories abound. There are so many stories. You know, the third point you can see on the slide, things happen in the world daily. What happens in your heart is the story. That is the difference. Apples kept falling on the head of so many people, but when it fell on Newton's head, no, he discovered gravity. So also stories keep happening. But what happens within the heart? I mean, stories don't keep happening. Events keep happening. Stories happen in the heart. That is an important point to remember. And similar to finding a story, you have to find a message. So, for example, when I watched Kung Fu Panda, the movie, in that, Master Oogway, the tortoise, comes and says, sometimes you meet your destiny on the path you take to avoid it. Whew! Somehow it just felt so deep and so profound for me. Possibly not for others, but for me it felt profound. Immediately I noted it down. You know, Swami tells in a discourse there are 5 sinners, not just the person who commits the sin, one who encourages the sin, one who initiates the sin, one who gives the means necessary to commit the sin, one who watches it knowing it's wrong and doesn't correct the sin. All these 5 are equally. Wow, that made a deep impact. Similarly, God takes you to deep waters, not to drown you, but to cleanse you. God's delays are not his denials. These are all pithy statements that when I heard it made a very deep impression on me. And in fact, the story that I'm telling you about my bike ride that got me into deep trouble, that's the final statement there. Appearing good is as important as being good. This also I had heard somewhere. Being good is not enough. You have to appear good as well. You have to be good and appear good. Being good and not appearing good, it can land you in trouble. Not being good, not appearing good, you are a known devil. Terrible is, clever devil is one who is not good but appears good. Be careful of these people. They are very crafty, cunning people. But the ideal is to be good and to appear good as well. So, what I do, right? What I do is any story that inspires me, I immediately note it down at that very moment. At that very moment. See, note down your inspiration on a daily basis as and when they occur. I do it as notes, or I do it even as voice notes. Hey, today I saw this. It's amazing. This is so fantastic and very nice. There's a sister Alicia. I don't know if she's on this call over here, but I notice her doing this sometimes. A Monday inspiration she sent. She would have seen some squirrel on the road and eating a nut, and suddenly some thought. And the way she connects it with Swami's message, it's very inspiring to read. That is because she's able to, when that squirrel is inspiring her there, she's able to note it down and keep it. So whenever you have an inspiration, note it, not just the inspired story. The same thing holds good even with inspired quotes. Note it down, write it down. When I was in 11th grade, when I joined Swami's school, 1998, when I look at my diary entries, I had forgotten about this, but now when I saw it, it was so thrilling. I have written there that from today onwards, I am going to maintain a diary. I am going to write everything because this is the Sai Bhagavatam. I have written this in my 11th grade. And then there's a very interesting statement. I have written Jesus did not select his apostles. The devotees who maintained a diary and basically kept track of all the stories of Jesus, they became apostles. It's not like apostles maintained a diary. The followers of Jesus who maintained a diary became apostles. I've written that in my diary. What a beautiful thought it is. So that's why I maintained. So you see, that's what it is. And finally, what's my third step in my process? Once I've got a list of stories, once I've got a list of messages, I see which message can match which story. And once a message and story match, there is a vlog that is ready, there is a blog that is ready. There is a thing that is now perfect. Because as I said, you need a story and you need a message. This is one assignment that I would like all of you to attempt. Take some time, take overall about a month. Note down the stories that have inspired you. About 4 stories, 5 stories. It could be Seva, it could be a person's experience with Swami. Note down the messages that have inspired you and try to match and come up with at least two pairs. Two pairs. This is the story and this is the message. Do this, and we shall possibly have one more for those who take time, energy, and effort to do this. We'll have one more maybe session and we shall discuss and go in more depth. But this is the basic of storytelling that I follow. Let me just see. Yes, now I'll take you back to the story. Sincere prayers, apology letters. This is what was told to me. I know I'm almost 70 minutes, but yeah, I'm just 2 more slides away from completing the story. So I was told you, let me stop sharing. You apologize to Swami. So I began to write apology letters, because I realized my mistake. Swami had told me clearly don't take, and I had thought that somebody much elder to me doesn't come in the category of girls, but who was I to decide that? And again, here I got to know later that somebody had seen this and said, Swami, at night I saw Aravind going with a lady on his bike. Again, another complaint. So, a double mistake has happened here. One is I have flouted Swami's word. Second thing is I have not appeared good. Swami's message is that if you are actually helping out a lady there, make sure that anybody who views it also understands in that manner. Otherwise, it can lead to trouble for you because Swami always wants to correct us. But as I was feeling so depressed and low and thinking this is my last, I'm going to be kicked out, my colleague from radio side told me something that gave me some cheer. He said, hey, listen, Arvind, Swami called Venkatraman sir in the end and told him, don't speak very harshly with him because he has got a very tender heart. He will be broken. So tell this to him gently. Oh, and what GV sir had told me was the gentle or what? Oh my God, that's when I realized, oh, this is the gentle way of telling. Okay. So, oh, but then, I felt so, see his omnipresence. See the Lord, how he says, I mean, me being emotional, sensitive, I don't think many people know that at that time, but Swami told it. So the next day, I was called by the secretary of the ashram, and apparently, Swami is talking to all the elders at the dining table, asking, "How is that boy doing?" He's concerned about me, but in the mandir, is not looking at me. And needless to say, I stopped taking camera to the mandir because Swami is not happy with me getting up. He's avoiding me. And in the mandir, imagine I'm not looking at Swami because when I look at him, he's not looking at me. And when I'm looking down and I'm having tears in my eyes, in the corner of my eye, I know Swami is watching me. And I feel so happy. I don't know how to explain that feeling. Swami is watching me, and I just raise my eyes and he turns away. And I tell Swami, if not looking at you makes you look at me, Swami, then I will not look at you. I will not look at you, Swami. So I used to turn away and sit and keep shedding my tears. I used to shed tears, keep crying. And Swami will keep looking. And people would come and tell me, Arvind, Swami is going on looking at you, what you're turning away and crying. They don't understand that if I turn back and look at Swami, he will turn away. Rather than him turn away from me, it's okay if I turn away here. This is what I was thinking. So I was told that you write letters to Swami. And I tried, but Swami is not looking at me. Swami is not taking my letters. I was again called by the secretary. And he said, he scolded me now. He was angry. He said, "You fool, I have told you to write letters to Swami. Can't you write apology letters?" I said, "Sir, I am writing, but Swami is not taking." He said, "What do you mean Swami is not taking?" I said, "Every day during darshan, I hold it out, sir. Swami doesn't even look at me. He turns away." He said, "You fool, Swami will not look at you. He will not take from you. You should send it to him." How do I send it? Fax it. Oh, I didn't know. I said, "Don't you know that Swami staff have the privilege of sending a fax to Swami?" Oh, I didn't know. Oh my God, note down the number. He made me note down the number and he said, "Go write a fax." And later I get to know, dear brothers and sisters, Swami has told him to instruct me in that manner. Look at this. Where will you find a Lord like this? Correcting you, lovingly guiding you. That fool doesn't know. Go tell him to send a fax, send an apology for whatever. So I went and sent my apology. I said, "Swami, I have been so foolish. I won't do it." The second day, I sent a second apology. The third day, I said, "Swami, I don't know what else is there to tell. I have already written my apology. Now I leave it, Swami. I know I've got to know that you've been guiding. So I know, Swami, that there is a reason why you're doing this. But I know that you will always guide me in life. And so, Swami, if it is your decision to kick me out, I'm fine, Swami. No more apology letters from me. I have told whatever I need to say. I await your decision." That is where I left it at. And yeah, before I just complete this story, let me again just share my screen because I want to show you some very, very, very crucial points about storytelling. Okay, let me play this. Yeah, you can see my screen. See, it's most important to know who is the audience. Who is the audience? The story that I've narrated to you would have been totally different if it was a different audience. I know that everybody on this call has some love, some affection, some connection, some relationship with our Swami. And that's why you're able to understand and appreciate. Very important to know who is the audience. Don't go by the thing that, no, this is for general audience, for general audience. No, it will not be for general audience. I had a look at all those who had registered uh, for this workshop. Okay, most of them turned out to be in the age group of 35 to 45. So when I look at my audience in age, this is the age I'm catering to. Even though I'm not making conscious effort to do for 35 to 45, the way I talk, the way I speak, the things that I speak matters most to this age group possibly. So even when I say that I don't have an audience in mind, unconsciously an audience gets formed. So if I'm able to know what's the audience, it's very interesting. Let me share one interesting incident that happened. When I was preparing. No, I'll come to that later. There's nothing like a general audience. So the next thing is, once you know your audience, give a reason for your audience to care for the story. Give a reason for the audience. And how do you do that? I'll tell it in the next slide. And start practicing. Let me just see my next slide, what it is. Yeah, yeah. So there is some slide repetition that has happened here. Let me just shift between the slides and tell you. See, like all success, success is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. Yes. Even for this workshop, I have spent so much time preparing. I got inspired with this idea of mixing a story, but the preparation took me so long. It is hard work. Okay. So start telling stories to anyone who is ready to listen. Start. If you don't start, you will never learn storytelling. Tell it to family, tell it to friends, tell it to children at work. Practice is what makes us perfect. Okay. And as I said, when you start, it'll depend. When you're speaking to a child, it is different. When you're speaking to an adult, it is different. I realize this. For instance, on my channel, I have Bhakti Ramayana. Okay. Where my daughter and me, we converse on the story of the Ramayana. When I look at the comments, people, we love it. It's amazing. It's awesome. It's fantastic. It's terrific. But the numbers are not reflecting. Hmm? A video gets 10,000 views. This Ramayana, where I'm having a conversation with Bhakti and myself, it's getting only 3,000 views, only 30% of the views. Why? Is the storytelling not nice? I'm wondering. No, the storytelling is nice. It's shown in the comments. Everybody is just loving it. They asking when will the next come? When will the next come? But why am I not getting the views? Because it is targeted to a different audience. 80% of my audience is in an age group that, as I said, listens to these things. They are not interested. An office going person who is my age, maybe 45, is not interested in listening to Ramayana story being told by my daughter. Ramayana stories, the children are loving it, and the elders who possibly are teaching SSC, or in some centers they're showing it to the SSC children, they're liking it. So it is engaging, but see, it is not as engaging here because the style of narrating is different. When we tell it to the children, it has to be exaggerated in the emotions. See, for example, the Ramayana story, when I'm telling it to you, I'll tell you, long ago, even before the rest of the world was civilized, or they were living in caves possibly, in the Bharata Varsha, there was civilization, and more than 10,000 years ago, there was the kingdom of Ayodhya. And there was an emperor who had everything in life but did not have an heir to the throne. Despite three marriages, he married three times. And somehow this is an ancient mindset. He thought that there's something wrong with the queens. Why not? Ramayana is a very progressive text. There is something wrong with him. He didn't realize that. Three queens are not able to bear him children means it's not the fault of the queens. Something can be wrong with you, right? That's why metaphorically they speak of a yagna where he's given a payasa. Payasa is a white viscous substance. It is very symbolic of the life force that the man provides for creating children. Now, see, in this light, the adults and the forward thinking people are very interested in the Ramayana because it's after that he conceives children. But the way you tell it to children is very different. Long ago, there was a kingdom. Okay. I'm just imagining some three children watching here. And do you know what's a kingdom? You know what's a kingdom? A kingdom is one big place where there is one king. Okay. Every kingdom will have one king. Now, this king is very, very intelligent, and all the people listen to him. So, he will decide. Like in your home, who do you think is the king? Mama or father? Oh, father. Why father? Why mother? You see the way it goes, it is different. So, depending on the audience, your storytelling will change, and therefore, it's very important to have the audience. Know the audience that you're speaking to, and accordingly tailor the story. And as I said, once you get that, go and practice. Go, whoever is ready to listen, tell them. And then note down the places where the audience were engaged and note where they were disengaged and have a self evaluation. This part was boring. What can I do to improve? This part was interesting. I should keep it up. And the most important, seeking feedback. Don't seek feedback from all and sundry, please. Okay. Seek from those who are good in that and those who care for you. Okay. Because those who good in it will point out your faults. And because they care for you, they'll point out in such a way that they don't discourage you. In the initial phases, oh God, so discouraging it'll be. People, this is not good at all. Oh God. You just feel, why did I step in? Let me get back. No. So that's very important in seeking feedback. Finally, oh, I forgot this. This is the most critical part. You can see the third point here. The setup, the conflict, and a resolution. Every story needs these three. And these are the three that will determine for you which detail is important, which is not. Every story should have a setup. A setup meaning the basic background that they need to know to appreciate the story. So here, cut out all the other things that are not necessary. And then there has to be a conflict, a pain point where people are wondering, oh God, what's going to happen next? And finally, a resolution comes in the end, which gives them that relief. It's like on a hot day, you get the air conditioning, relief. Every story must have this. So when we are reporting, right, we served food to hungry people. We are giving the resolution direct. There is no setup, there is no conflict there. Why will people enjoy reading? They'll think, these fellows went and distributed 100 sandwiches. Great. I'm just giving you as an example. Little Anna, possibly in Azerbaijan. 3 days she has not had food because it is winter and there is not a soul on the streets. Her self respect doesn't allow her to beg because she's a student actually. But her home is in shambles. There's nobody earning. She's desperately hungry. So much so that she has decided to let go of her self respect and actually beg. But even then, where does she beg from? There's nobody on the streets. What to do? And she decides, I'm going to walk out of the house. Either I find food or death finds me because I don't know. She goes walking. And what does she see? There's a soup kitchen serving hot soup, lentils. That's enough. That is manna from heaven for me. But no, wait. There is pizza. There is chapati. There is, I mean, whatever. It's a feast over there. Oh my God. And even as she's enjoying this, she just goes, takes a plate, and there's no time to enjoy. There's nothing. It just gobbles. But as her hunger is satiating, she realizes, hey, who are these angels? She goes to one of them and asks, who are you? And they say, we are volunteers from the Satsai International Organization. This is a story because it has a setup and there's a conflict. There's a conflict. If Anna doesn't get food, she's going to collapse. You have identified yourself with Anna. Of course, I have abridged it so much. And now you realize, and then you tell every week in the winter, the Sri Satyasai International Organization has served warm meals to 100 people for a month celebrating the birthday of Bhagwan Sri Satyasai Baba. And the beautiful thing is, as Swami teaches us, it's not about satiating their hunger. It's also about preserving their self respect and self esteem. Anna was happy not just because she got food, she was happy because she didn't have to beg for it. And that is how Swami operates. And that is a story. A setup, a conflict, and a resolution. If the resolution comes without your setup and conflict, it's just a boring report. And if you're telling a long story like the one that I am telling you, it should have multiple sub stories. You would have noticed many, many little stories in Hadshi what happened, in this what happened. Each of those little stories has its own setup, conflict, and resolution. And with that, I think I'll conclude with the resolution of what happened here finally. It was a few days before Christmas, and I thought, Swami, I have apologized to you, and just the previous year, Swami, I had been seeking your best friendship. That's another story in itself. Let me stop sharing. Where Swami accepted a card where he said he will be my best friend, and I was thinking, Swami, 1 year ago you promised you will be my best friend. Swami, today, 1 year later, it's not even 1 year. It's 3 days short of a year. Christmas Eve was the day you had accepted my best friendship card and promised to be my best friend. I have done something that, Swami, you don't even want to look at my face. What a stupid thing I've done, Swami. Please forgive me. I've asked forgiveness. I don't know what else to do. And Swami turns and looks at me and he calls me. I go to him and he asks me, what is the prasadam today? I don't know what is the prasadam today. So I look and ask, what's the prasadam? So they get the prasadam. Prasadam is usually prasadam or the eatable, some sweet or something that's given at the end of the program. It is brought in the beginning of the program because Swami is asking for it. They were neatly packaged. I think by some Western devotees, they have been brought and offered to Swami. Packaged bags holding gold coin chocolates, gold coin wrapped. They look like coins and you open them, it's chocolate inside. That was the prasadam that day in full public view. 30-40,000 people sitting in Kulwant Hall. In full public view, Swami smiles and pats me on my cheek. That's a very, very important message because everybody concerned in this incident, those who have been conveying Swami's messages to me, those who have been responsible in complaining against me to Swami, everybody is watching. In public, Swami pats me on my cheek, gives one bag of chocolates. Swami tells, have it. And again tells me to take namaskar. That was how that situation got resolved. and that is what I wanted to share. But you know what happened after that happened? The next day I was so happy. I said, I'm going to take the camera. I'm going to take the camera, and I showed you the picture, right? Of let me show that picture again, where on Christmas Eve the gents were on one side, the ladies were on one side. Where's the share button? Okay, there's the share button. I'm sharing, and I hope you can see this. So you see this red carpet running right through the center, like a big fool, like an idiot. I wanted to take, because I thought Swami is going to be sitting right in the center in front of that Ganesha. I went and sat on the red carpet, not realizing that to my right is a lady sitting over there. I didn't even strike. I have got into such deep trouble. And Swami came on stage, and well, that's a story for another day. But what I wanted to tell, okay, let me just go to this. What I want to tell you is, these are the final, this is my final slide, I promise you. The useful techniques. You see the, you see this, one point that I've not included here is, even when you tell a story, leave it at some point, possibly if you can, where next seminar you want to come, because you know what I have done. You know what I have done. Just now I have resolved myself and come out of that and right there, because it definitely, Swami observed it. Swami noticed it, and again it led to a little story after that. But how could I be so foolish? Anyway, as I said, the techniques are, first thing is show, don't tell. Rather than when you're narrating a story, don't tell that that person was very tired. Don't say that. Instead, say his breathing was labored, he was panting, he held on to a railing and sat down, and he told, give me 5 minutes before I can get up. That's more engaging. Don't tell that old man was tired. Tell this way. Show them, show the audience, whether you're speaking or writing. Second thing is use dialogues. If you remember in the beginning, right, when I was speaking to my colleague, I did not say he told this and I told this. No, make it a conversation. Swami is very upset with you. Why? What happened? You meet Venkatraman sir, he'll tell you. No, but tell me something. Yeah, I noticed. He turned away from me. Yeah, because he's very upset, Arvind. And it's very serious. Oh my God. I hope it, I hope I don't get kicked out, man. Yeah, even I hope, I'll pray for you. But what is it? Tell me. No, you go and meet. See, you're able to, right? Use dialogues and make it natural. Don't try to make it correct English grammatically with semicolon, comma when you're writing, or same way when you're speaking. When we speak, how we speak, make it normal like that. If it was a formal conversation, let it be formal. If it was a normal conversation, let it be normal. And then, if when you're building suspense, right, use pacing, short sentences. As I said, when tension is building, and Swami doesn't want to look at me, he's turning away. I'm standing there wondering what happened. No, I look to my left, right, nothing. Maybe this person, see how short my sentences are, all five words, 6 words. When you use short sentences, it paces up and builds suspense. Whereas the next day, Swami was sitting there, and as I looked into his eyes, oh my God, I could see an eternity there. So beautiful, so calm. So it is different when you're trying to build. So pacing when you speak as well as when you write, short sentences will pace it up. Of course, voice modulation. Voice modulation, very important. And silence. What is grander than a thunderous applause is a pin drop silence. When you make a poignant point, when you say that God takes us to deep waters, not to drown us, but to cleanse us. Give those 3 seconds of silence for the audience to absorb, and you will feel Swami's presence in that silence. So that is there. And finally, the most important, the reader or listener or the viewer should feel good, should feel enlightened. Take home message should be there, or should feel entertained. Otherwise, they're not going to come back to you next time. These are some of the useful techniques. And with that, I conclude. I'll stop sharing my screen. I'm happy to take any questions. As I said, these are two things that you can try out, two assignments. Let me share that and then I'll take questions. One, as I said, make a list of inspired stories, not reports, stories that have inspired you and the messages, and try to see and match and try to come up with a story with a message, a story with a message. And while doing that, the second assignment is this. Try to take one service activity which you have been inspired by and try to have this setup, conflict, and resolution. Don't cook up details. Don't cook up details, okay? I'm not asking for fiction. I'm asking for realistic story. And yeah, this is one more important point. All of these are summarized well, much better than what I'm possibly telling in detail, because when I go in detail, I miss some points. They're summarized well in a document which will be shared by you. I'm sure Brother Bala will share it with all of you. Details, right? Choose those details which can amplify either the setup or the conflict or the resolution. And you should have sufficient details for all the three. So, like I said, I told you the story of Anna. Go there, and I promise you, when you're served food for 90 people, 100%, maybe not 100%, 99% among those 90 people, one or two of them will have a real touching story. It's just that we don't have time to dig and find out. Go and find out. That one story is enough to convey to the world the impact of this sandwich distribution or home building, whatever seva is being done. Get one story, show the impact that's happening to that one person, and then tell like this: the organization impacts 550 people. Oh my god. This one story, imagine how those might be. You might not actually have 550 stories to tell, but the impact is the same. So dig among those 550 people. Same way in the medical camps, go and find that one story, and focus and get all the details necessary. Oh, Anna, you lost your father when you were young. It's important. How does it matter? One person whom I'm serving food, she lost her father. No, because it is Anna, it matters. It matters because Anna is my protagonist now. My audience is going to associate with her. All the difficult things that have happened to her in her life, I want it now. When the winter came, her heater blew off. That's an important detail. Oh, but somebody else, they don't have parents. Fine, that's not needed for the story now. My focus is now only Anna. I hope you get what I'm saying. So which details to include, which to exclude, all the details as much as possible, which will highlight the setup, the conflict, and the resolution. Get all the details. All other details are just not, you can summarize them in one line. After telling the story, when people are moved and say, my god, next time I also want to come for this sandwich seva, you tell them that, yeah, last time we had 25 volunteers on a Sunday morning and we served about 250 people. Come as a 26th, let's serve more. That's enough. Don't make a full story about 25 volunteers, 250 food, the pasta, the color of the sauce. No, people, oh, they'll just skim through. Tell the story, and then once the story is there, oh yeah, yeah, color of the sauce becomes important, because you know what? Interestingly, Anna loved red sauce. And call it a coincidence if you might, that day's pasta had red sauce. Now see, now red sauce becomes something saucy and nice because for Anna it is important, and I've identified with Anna. Yeah, so please do try out these two assignments, and uh, when we have whoever we have, we shall try to see if we can meet again and go in depth and learn more about storytelling. Now I'm open to questions. I hope I offer this to Swami, and I hope that I have been able to convey some aspects of storytelling, at least the way I do it. Uh, and it's all been Swami's blessings and grace. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Aravind. Sasan, I believe we had asked for folks to direct questions to you. Do you have a couple that you've already messaged over to Aravind or have summarized?
I have not seen questions come through, but I'm checking through.
Cool. Aravind, our workshop has been so complete. I spoke too soon. We Uma, please go ahead.
Sairam, I have a question for you. Arvind, by the way, thank you so much. I listened to your
I
talk.
saw your message. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah.
amazing job you do. Excellent, actually, your short stories and long ones and everything. I think I heard about Swami more through you than anything else. Uh, Anyhow, that being said, uh, I love nature and I've been working with nature a lot. Okay, but whether it's a restoration, reforestation, or working in India with elephant projects or dog projects and all that. But like you said, I am not able to inspire people to join me as much as I would like to. You know, I'm doing it and I tell them I'm doing it, and people join, but not as many people as I want, even though this is a critical need of an hour right now in this world. All these restoration, reforestation work needs to be done, all this taking care of the animals in India, especially when there's only 3% of forest is left, 97% is gone. I don't want to give them statistics, but somehow if I tell that also, there is only very little response. Maybe you can one-on-one guide me in the sideline how I can inspire people to join me, and I don't want to take away all this time here.
Yeah, yeah. So I will not go into the specifics with each case, but
Hmm.
I have covered the basics, which is how is it going to help them? They
Correct.
have to feel it. You cannot tell it to them when it comes to any of this, right? You cannot tell it to them and tell, therefore, come join me, and it'll be like preaching.
Yes.
What has inspired you? Try to go and find that, and that story has to be captured some way. That's all it is. That's all it is, you know. And it's a learning process even for me. But basically, it boils down to two things. One is, am I communicating my inspiration? Because my inspiration will definitely inspire. And second thing is there something in it for them? That's all it is. If there's nothing in it for them, they won't come. Why did so many people come for this workshop? I don't think everybody here, there are 65 participants. I don't think everybody wants to be great storytellers. Maybe some of you are thinking that, hey, I'll get a nice story from Arvind to listen. I know that that will be there. That's why I'm not disappointing them. That's why I told one story here also. Those who have come for satsang will also get a satsang. This is